So it's the first time I'm coming across a TWS that are made from metal. So these are from a brand called Roseselsa. These are known as EARFREE i5, and if you remember, it's the same brand that launched the Aurora Ultra IEMs that I reviewed a couple of months back. In case you are interested, make sure to check that review. And now let's head over to the unboxing. So they come in this kind of a silver box, and I would say it's not a very super clean packing because they tried to mention every single feature that is there on the box itself, both on the front and the back. So on the inside you have your TWS, then you have some paperwork, a charging cable that has a Type A and Type C connectors, and some extra pair of ear tips in small and large. The medium ones are already attached to the buds. So starting up with the case, so it's made from metal. The case feels very premium and of a very high quality, and you have the Roseselsa branding on the front. Below that you have your charging indicator. Apart from that, both the front and the back looks super clean and very minimal. On the top it's written EARFREE International. At the bottom you have your charging indicator. Beside that you have your reset button, and I would say that in most cases people would be laying these buds flat on the table like that. So overall, like, those reset button and Type C charging port will not be visible. And at this point, if I compare them to some other buds, like this one is from Realme, so just wanted to mention that this thing packs in 10 hours of battery on the buds and 50 hours along with the case. And even though they pack in so much battery, still they managed to keep these buds small and compact. And of course, the feeling of holding a metal is very different from feeling of holding something made from plastic. Now talking about the buds, so the buds are small and compact, even though they managed to fit in 10 hours of battery on these buds, but they still managed to keep the size quite small. So first of all, the stems are like slightly rectangular, or they have slightly squarish design. They are not rounded ones. And yeah, talking about the fitting, so these are small, compact, they fit on nicely very well. I'm using them with the default medium size ear tips that came pre-attached, and I didn't had any sort of problem. And yes, whenever you are touching these buds, so instead of making a beep sound, they make a sort of click sound, which is quite different from what others are using, making them feel quite innovative and also making them feel more original. Now talking about the technical specifications, a few of the things here can be really interesting. So first of all, they have a 48 dB of active noise cancellation, which is kind of a standard these days, and they cover a frequency range of around 4000 Hz. Then they have something called LLR, which means a lightning latency reduction. So in the gaming mode, they will give you a latency of around 54 milliseconds. Then they have something called ELC, which means equal loudness contour, which I believe that they will try to control a lot of variations in the amplitude whenever you are hearing to something. And then about the battery, I already told you it's 10 hours on the buds and 50 hours along with the case. But the most, and yeah, they have the support for LDAC as well. But the most interesting part here was the topological diaphragm. So what happens in a normal dynamic driver is that you have a coil, you have a diaphragm, and the vibration of the coil actually moves the diaphragm. That what creates the sound. But in a topological diaphragm, you have a deposition of some kind of a nanomaterial on the diaphragm itself, and by varying the thickness of this material and by creating various geometrical structures of this material on the diaphragm, you can achieve some sort of a very unique acoustic properties that is not possible by a conventional dynamic driver. And trust me, this thing sounds really good. But before talking about the sound, I just want you to have a look at the Roseselsa link app that you can use to connect these buds with. So this is the Roseselsa link app that you will use to connect your buds with your phone. You can get the app from the Play Store, and as soon as I take these buds out from the case, they will connect with your phone almost instantaneously without any delay or without any hassle. It will display the percentage of battery on your case and also on the buds. But the interesting part here is that as soon as I keep the buds in the case, it will begin to charge, and that information will be updated on the app with this yellow icon. I really like that how the case and this app is communicating with each other. There is no delay, and this thing almost happens instantaneously. You can already see that. So if I talk about the app, so the first section is your noise control. So you have your active noise cancellation, wind noise reduction, normal mode, and transparency mode. Below that you have your EQ section. I'm like disappointed because they only gave you 4 different options to swap between, and also there is no custom EQ for some reason. I hope that they will fix this in the upcoming updates or something. Below that you have your gaming mode, you also have your dual device connectivity, and you also have your LDAC. You also have your find device option, which is not your GPS control or something, but it's all sound based, and the buds actually sound loud enough. And just in case you drop it in your bus or train or anywhere around, I think that you are easily going to find it because of the loudness level mainly. Now the app offers some other useful features, like you can change some of your touch settings which are mainly related to your music players and all, but there are some settings which are related to your calls which are baked into the earbuds which you cannot change. So it's a mix of some static features and some dynamic features. Apart from that, there are some lab related functions, like you can change the volume of your notification sounds. Then there is a digital well-being section or the square section at the center, through which you can play some of your like white noise and all for better sleep. ergonomic, and also the app has the option to change between the dark mode and your light mode or the system mode. So a very well featured app. Now talking about the audio quality, so I've been using these buds for more than a week now, and I would say that these buds really sound good and they are very enjoyable. Now all these years I was using either Realme or Oppo as my mainstream earbuds while traveling and for casual listening, and I would say that more or less whether you get the Realme or you get the Oppo, more or less they both are same. They have the same kind of app, whether it's the Realme Link app or the Hey Melody app, and the kind of drivers on both of them is nearly the same. It's just that Realme are more on a bass side and the Oppo are like they have good balance between your low frequencies and high frequencies. But the kind of drivers both of these buds have, like it's almost the same kind of dynamic drivers. But with the EarFree i5 and with that topological diaphragm that they have introduced in this, I think it's doing its job very well, because this EarFree i5 actually sound very wide and they are actually forward on the vocals. It doesn't also mean that they lack bass or they have missing out details on the high frequencies, but it's just that wide sound signature gives you a very immersive experience. Although they don't have any sort of features like 360 audio or spatial sound that Realme or Oppo has, but they sound actually so good and so wide that it didn't make me feel that I really need that spatial audio or anything into that. Now over this 1 week of usage, I watched a couple of movies and I also listened to a lot of songs, and I wanted to say that all the content that was sounding very normal on my other TWSs, it sounded very fun loving, very bright, very wide on these EarFree i5. And you have to appreciate that Roseselsa is a new company and this is their second TWS in their lineup, so it takes a lot of courage to actually put something new into the product, because most of the companies would try to play safe and do what others are doing, but they managed to do something different. And yes, they brought in every single feature that others are providing into this product. It's just that their app needs some refinement here and there, but that is not anything major. At the last, if you would ask me that should you get the EarFree i5, I would say yes, because with this metal case and all, I think this is something that will pair very well with any white phone or a black phone, especially like if you are someone who play a lot of attention to the aesthetics. So you're not going to get disappointed with the EarFree i5. And yes, I forgot about the microphone. So microphone sounded really good. I didn't have any sort of problems, neither others had any sort of problems while listening to me. My voice was conveyed very well and everything was working absolutely fine. So at the end, you should try out the EarFree i5 in case you want to try something new. The only thing is that if you are in India, maybe the availability is an issue and you have to order this directly from their website. But if you are into the international market, you can get this product very easily from their website, and that's why I think it's called EarFree International. So that's all about it. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next one.